Let's talk some more about atonement. And what I really want to reflect a bit on is how really strange this answer of atonement as the central accomplishment of of the redemption that Jesus did for us, which we could not do for ourselves. So if you grew up in a really good, Bible believing, gospel proclaiming church, it's incredibly commonplace. I mean, we sing songs, and over time, the strangeness of it maybe seems not so strange to you. You just get used to it. You have passages, and it's all over the Bible. I mean, so if it's not made commonplace to you in your church, then probably something not right about the way your church teaches you and sows the gospel into you. But what I want to say is a little something. I want to caution the person who grew up in what is a good church, and how what is strange in the Bible has been made not so strange to the Christian, which is good. But what I want to do is just show it, just return to how strange it is. So, like, just for instance, it's all over the Bible. John chapter 1, John the Baptist sees Jesus as, behold, he's the Lamb of God who takes away the sins of the world. I mean, right at the beginning of the Gospel of John, this is the statement, and he's immediately pointing to you to who this guy is, what is he going to do, and he's called the Lamb, and somehow he's going to take away the sin of the world, and it's steeped in the biblical theology and the understanding of atonement. Okay, so there is in Matthew chapter 26, when Jesus institutes the Lord's Supper, he says something like this. He says, "This is my blood, and it is poured out for many for the forgiveness of sins." Here we go. So, I mean, it's all throughout the Bible. It's in the Old Testament, it's in the New Testament. And anyone who really denies penal substitutionary atonement and that this is at the center of the redemptive work of Jesus as Christ, you might as well just throw the whole Bible away. But just reflect a little bit, and let's have a little bit of some sympathy for the modern secular unbeliever, or even if they're not even secular. Let's say they believe in a different religion. Maybe they believe in, they're Hindu, or there are a lot of Hindus in our city, or they're Buddhist, or they're some other belief. Okay, maybe they're even Mormon. They have some other belief, and that this idea. So just think a little bit about this. First, there's the Almighty Son of God. He's omnipotent, omniscient, infinitely righteous, holy, loving, just. And then he has voluntary condescension, as the Westminster Confession says. He lowers himself and he becomes fully God and fully man. And then he offers and he binds himself to have a deep relationship that is intended to be forever, to become, to united to us. In the Old Testament, this picture is that God is married to his people. Okay, so it's covenant. And then, so here is the Almighty Son of God. He becomes fully human, and right away, say in John chapter 1, or at this culminating moment before he goes to the cross in Matthew chapter 26, it's the atonement, right? He's a lamb. And so let's just reflect on this. If you're a modern 21st century, especially an urban person, we're not even around animals. And it's like, what is this? And it can feel really weirdly irrelevant and something out of an old time. But I want to just say a couple things here. Like, first of all, um, for us, if you're not around animals, it seems really, really strange. But first of all, understand that, like, a pure lamb or, cattle was tremendously valuable. And that to ancient people, and even still, certain people around the world today, this is their wealth, and it really represents their life. And so the more cattle that you have, or if you have, sheep and goats, then the purest one that represents your wealth, your peoplehood, your future, your security, and it represents life. And then, so all throughout the Old Testament, when we're going to go forward to God and make an offering to God, what do you offer to say, you're my God? You offer your wealth. You offer what is valuable. You say, you're my treasure. Here is what what everybody around the world we recognize is our life and our treasure, and we offer it to you because you're our life, you're our treasure. We trust in you to be our life, not our money. So, you know, if you, as soon as you see it this way, what is our life? What is our treasure? What is our value? What is our worth? You know, that lamb, that animal, it represents that in the ancient world of the Bible. And a lot of modern people, they don't seem to understand. So if you're listening to this today and you're still not sure about this, or if you're a Christian and you're like, it's a weird answer, I want you to start thinking about this, that what the lamb represents. Right? And now let me, and I'll say a second thing, that the Bible is very, very clear. Blood must be shed. That blood represents life. And that if there is going to be a wickedness, that there has to be a wrath, and God sometimes expects, this is it. I mean, really, if you're going to receive the great just judgment of God, your life is going to be under condemnation, forever. It's so in the Bible, it's represented that if there's going to be a payment, if there's going to be an atonement, if there's going to be some way to make up and answer for this incredible violation of deep relationship, of covenant, or of that which we've done to each other, there has to be some way that we pay for this. We don't just pay with money. See, it's interesting. They paid with a lamb, and their lamb is their, especially the purest one. It represents great wealth, but it's more than money. It's their life, and the blood represents a great payment. But then, all through the Bible, the Bible gets very, very clear. It's like, this is the practice of the Old Testament. And then when you get to, say in the Hebrews, how can the blood of sheep and goats pay for our sin? Of course. What our rebellion against an infinitely glorious God is far more wretched and awful than something that could be paid for by something like even money or animals, or even the blood of animals. And so this answer comes, is there some other substitutionary sacrifice, a payment, a ransom of atonement to answer and wash, and then the sin is washed away. The sin is removed. Now that's the answer, okay? And if you grew up in the church, and maybe I already know all this stuff, but one of the things I want to say to you is, if you didn't grow up in the church, I want you to think about this idea that something very costly, something that really gets at the deep depths of the relationship. This is covenantal relationship where two becomes one. That which is really filthy and dirty and a great violation must be removed. And once it is removed, that there too, then we can have the deepest closeness. So that even in human life, when two people get together, we hide our most terrible things from each other. And so one of the things I want to show you is that, in contrast to, if there isn't atonement, the only way we can try to answer things is to hide. And you know what? The Bible knows that. This is how we regularly do. We cover up, we hide, we deny, we avoid. We know this doesn't truly answer. It's kind of like a Band-Aid on a gigantic wound. A lot of things in deep sin issues, we really have no answer for this thing. I mean, like, you marry somebody and this person is kind of jealous and controlling, and you just, after 5 years, 6 years, you realize that's never going to go away, is it? This person is just petty and self-centered, and you realize this is never really, really going to go away, is it? It's just, this is how it is. And so how do you do it? That they just want you to look the other way, or they just want you to, you have to deny, or you have to cover it up. So in the Bible, let's go to an important passage in the Bible that I want to offer you. Actually, let's go to here. So this is Genesis chapter 22. Very, very important. And I've been teaching you that the goal, that God's great gift, is the great gift of love in persons becoming deeply united, and persons giving themselves. That's love. And they give themselves fully without any hold back. So at the end of Genesis chapters, a man shall leave his father and his mother and hold fast to his wife. They shall become one flesh, the vision of covenant. And the man and his wife were both naked and not ashamed. There's no holding back. the fullness of who I are. And, physical naked, well, some people are less nervous about it than others, but really far more profound. What about soul nakedness, all the way down to our heart and our mind? And if you get to chapter 3, in the very next chapter, Genesis chapter 3, and here is the Bible's commentary on the human condition, apart from a deeper answer for the problem of sin. So it says this. So, verse 6. When the woman saw the tree was good for food, and it was a delight to the eyes, and the tree was to be desired to make one wise, or at least she thinks she's going to become wise, she took of its fruit and ate, and she also gave some to her husband who was with her, and he ate. Verse 7. And the eyes of both were opened. It's interesting. It's like, you mean they were closed before? No, I think what they were opened was like, now there's something filthy and terrible in them. And they knew they were naked. See, but before there was no shame. So if there's no shame and you could be utterly open, just think about this for a moment. Think about this for a moment. If you know somebody, let's say if you have a really good marriage, and this person, or you have a truly deep best friend, and this person knows you so deeply, so inside out, that you are soul naked before this person. But when you're with this person, do you feel that you are naked? You're not naked. You're just you. And when you give yourself to this person, when you reveal yourself to this person, and you are known wholly naked, then that is a deep part of being loved, is it not? To know you all the way in, and the person would say, I'll give you all of me. You can see all of me. And then when I bless you, you can see there's nothing fake. There's nothing inauthentic. There's no poison pill. There's no deceit. It says, and they knew they were naked. It seems like a really simple. So on one level, it's like, okay, they're not wearing clothes. Children, that's what, but that's not what the Bible's saying. It's saying that their soul, now they felt this, there's something so profound that now we feel naked, but before they never thought they were naked because that word didn't have to exist. The word was just, it was utterly unnecessary. And they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves loincloths. And then, they hide from God, and then God goes, who told you were naked? And I want to just try to just give this, this final reflection. This is the condition. This is the human condition. We feel nakedness and we feel shame. And so, let's say if you've done something truly wretched in your life, something that like everybody would consider wretched, like just everybody considers wretched. Let's say I don't know, if somebody had ever molested their child, somehow they had repented of it or gotten healed of it, and then they never did it again. But would they ever let anybody know? If they ever got married, would they even let their spouse know? Or what if it's never, not quite so dramatic as that, but just deep inside, just the average normal human being, just our deep, we have these fears and insecurities or angers or kind of shameful fantasies. Do we let people know? And so the best we could do is hide. We cover. The fig leaf is the answer all the time. I mean, whether it's just just the way we kind of hide, privacy today is all so much about it's fig leaf. And I'm not saying it's all bad. It's necessary, because some of the things are so wretched, and that if we become so naked, we become, people go crazy. And we would be so profoundly wounded and ashamed and hurt if our nakedness is exposed this way, and especially if something really wretched gets out there in the world. And so I'm not saying it's bad. It's necessary in a fallen world. But if the fig leaf is all we have, then you'll never, ever truly get to deep, profound love, where you could be utterly known and where you can utterly give of yourself freely, and we can have deep covenantal fulfillment and oneness. We can't have that with each other, let alone have it with God. And so think of how unbelievable, it's as strange as the answer is, think of how incredible power. If, like if somebody has certain sins today, all we can do is just kind of lock them up. If somebody comes out and they had certain kind of sexual sins, we don't even know what to do with them. Like we have these websites where it says they live over there, and it's something like the equivalent of a fig leaf. And when we get into relationships and we like, okay, you can't know me in that place, and like privacy or just withholding, it's a fig leaf, and we hide from each other, and thus our life is so profoundly love poor. In fact, even a lot of people today, they can't even believe that you can ever have such unbelievably profound closeness where you can be so close to somebody, you can be utterly soul naked and become one with that person, but still never lose yourself. You're fully yourself, you're known and you're loved, and you can even possibly have the hope of doing that for somebody else. And yet, the gospel, the atonement as an answer, the gospel offers you not only that very possibility, but that guaranteed hope, that hope. And that if people can really truly believe that not on the basis of my righteousness or my covering up, because even our righteousness, the way we try to act all good in front of it, it's a fig leaf answer. Pharisaical legalism, it's all fig leaf answers. Only if somebody else truly washed you and your sin is as far as the east is from the west, as our church regularly likes to hear, Psalm 103, because of what Jesus, the Son of God, the Lamb of God, did for us. So I would like you to just think about that. And especially if you are a believer in Jesus, I hope that you'll never get bored of the proclamation of the atoning work of Christ, and that you would take deep refuge, and you begin to sow this deep into your heart and allow yourself to be seen, because you can be naked but not ashamed. See, that's the goal: naked but not ashamed, because then you could be fully known and profoundly loved. This is what Jesus wants to offer to us, what God wants to give to us through the redemptive atoning work of his son Jesus.